Supreme Court 5-judge bench has axed the timeline for president and governors. Supreme Court has said that now there is no timeline to clear bills. Supreme Court ruling that clearly states on President Murmu's questions, where 5-judge Supreme Court bench has said that the timeline against Samvidhan, also stating that governors must not stall bills. Judicial review will only be after the bill turns into a law. 2-judge bench that stated in this order, especially referring to the Tamil Nadu Governor case that has now been set aside, a past order that set deadline for president, for governors to give a nod to bills. The final verdict on Tamil Nadu Governor versus Stalin government in Tamil Nadu, where Chief Minister Stalin had claimed that Governor T.N. Ravi is sitting on bills, but now the Supreme Court has made it amply clear that there is no timeline for governors to clear bills, but long delay can invite review. Let me cut across to my colleague Anisha Mathur for further details of what the top court has said on this matter and what this means for respective governments.
Well, Suesha, this is going to be a very, very crucial verdict when it comes to the ongoing political standoffs, whether it's Tamil Nadu, whether it's Kerala, whether it's multiple other states where the governments had come to the Supreme Court saying that governors are sitting on bills instead of either giving assent or sending them to the president or sending them back to the assembly with their comments. Now, let's look at the main points that the court has made in this verdict. This is in response to the reference that had been sent by the President of India. First, of course, being that the governor cannot simply sit on bills and withhold the bills. The only option under the Constitution is to assent, send to the president or send back to the assembly with his comments and withholding assent. So these are the three options he has. He cannot stall bills. That is very clearly said by the Supreme Court as far as our interpretation of Article 200 is concerned. What is also crucial and what is going to be seen as a big win for the government and the centre is that the court has set aside its earlier order, the 2-judge bench verdict, where a timeline of 3 months to give assent to bills had been set. And in fact, in that very controversial judgment, the Supreme Court 2-judge bench had said that if the governor does not take any action whatsoever on a bill that has been passed by the assembly, then in a period of 3 months plus 1 month in case that had been sent to the president, then it would be deemed assent, which means that if the governor chooses to just simply sit on a bill, then that bill will be said to have automatically been passed into law after 3 months. That, the Supreme Court has said, was completely outside the court's jurisdiction. The Supreme Court could not have passed such an order because bills can only become a law with the assent of the governor, and the governor's power under the Constitution to take a decision cannot be overruled by the court. What is also important to note is that the court has once again reiterated that the governor does have the sole discretion to decide whether they want to give assent to a bill, that is sign the bill, send it back to the assembly with their comments, or send it to the president for the reference from the central government. The State Council of Ministers does not have any role to play in that particular decision of the governor, unlike all other decisions of the governor, which are only on the aid and advice of the elected government. What is also important to note is that the court has made certain very scathing observations when it comes to constitutional discipline. It has said that the Constitution calls for a dialogue between the various constitutional authorities, that just because the president and the governor have power does not mean that the system of checks and balances is not operating. So clearly, the court also making a note of its own powers, that while the Supreme Court cannot set a timeline and cannot call for a deemed assent to bills, it can, however, step in if there is an inexplicable an inordinate delay by the governor. So effectively, the governor can take a decision, but the governor cannot stall a bill. And this, Suesha, as we were talking about, will be very important when it comes to the ongoing controversies. We've seen the Tamil Nadu government come to the Supreme Court. We've seen the Kerala government come to the Supreme Court, the West Bengal government. Earlier, we've seen the Rajasthan government had come to the Supreme Court in a different case. And all of these governments had also appeared in this presidential reference hearing before the five-judge bench also, where they had said that governors are using their power of assent or withholding the bill to stall bills that they do not agree with, that this is creating, that the governors are using their power for political purposes. And on that, the court has very clearly said that constitutional checks and balances still do exist, that inordinate or unexplained delay is not possible. What is the most important point, however, is the fact that the court has said that the power of the governor is limited to 3 options and 3 options only: give assent, send it back with comments, or send it to the president. He cannot sit on a bill, which is what we've seen happening in the multiple cases in the last several years. Really, we've seen this happen in Punjab, we've seen this happen in Tamil Nadu, we've seen this happen in Kerala, we've seen this happen in states where there is a political standoff between the elected government and the governor who is there in the particular state, where for several months the governor has simply withheld assent. He's not sent it back to the assembly. He's not said that XYZ is wrong with the bill that the assembly has passed. He has simply said, I will take a decision, but I have not taken a decision. Now, that is what the court has made very, very clear, that the stalling is something that the courts can, in fact, step into. Remember, this judgment by the 2-judge bench earlier in April had created a huge political firestorm,
Right.
which is why this presidential reference had come for the 5 judges bench to consider.
Right.
Back to you.
Oh, certainly, Anisha. And we've been highlighting that flashpoint that has happened between several governors and governments respectively. However, a balanced verdict, if you would put it like that, given the fact that a set timeline that has not been laid down by the top court, but also the fact that there cannot be an indefinite wait as far as giving a nod to the bill is concerned. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Anisha, for getting us the latest.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.